Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Want to get out it quickly and see this new Destiny thing. Ooh.
What follows light and shadow is silence. That silence breaks. I am summoning you as a new age begins.
Is she part of the 9?
I see sapient life turn to each other. They remember how to look to the stars. They remember curiosity. They remember how to thrive.
Edge of Fate.
But they have forgotten. They forgot we were here long before the Traveler.
Ooh. The 9. Yeah, the 9. Long before the Traveler.
They forgot that they need us.
Need us.
But they are fated to remember. I will remind them. I'm sure you will,
The 9.
but not through me.
Not through me.
Find someone else.
Oh. 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 What the fuck? A Titan. Wait, a Titan Warlock
My will is my own.
Hunter? What the hell? That didn't show me anything. What the fuck? That didn't show me nothing!
All right, everyone, hello and welcome here to Bungie HQ in beautiful Bellevue, Washington. We have got an amazing stream lined up for you to tell you a little bit about the Edge of Fate and the future of Destiny 2 as well. My name's Andy. I work on the social media team
Hi,
here,
Andy.
but no need to worry. As always, I am joined by
Senior
some of my
social
amazing
media
colleagues here at
manager.
Bungie to share some of the finer details of the stuff that we're going to be getting into today. So, how about we go ahead and get into it so we can show you what we got.
Fire.
Starting first with this gentleman on my right and to your left is someone that you've probably seen if you've tuned into our streams before or Vidocs, the one and only Mr. Robbie Stevens.
I feel like they're doing that. They're making an amalgamation
great, Andy.
character
It's always
of
a pleasure to spend
Warlock,
the day.
Hunter, and
Yeah, it's been a
Titan.
nice time, honestly, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
always.
to that end as well, for anyone that doesn't get to hang out as much as we do, can you tell everyone at home a little bit about yourself and what you do here?
Yeah, sure. So I'm one of the creative and game directors for the game. So that means like I'm a vision holder and I work across the entire Destiny team with people like Allison and Dylan on the couch here to chart a new course for Destiny and a new future for the game, and just incredibly excited to be sharing with everyone today of what we've been up to.
Yeah, can't wait. We've got a big show ahead, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, as we move, pardon me, right on down the line, someone who again has also had the good opportunity to join us on these streams as well, and is now firing some finger guns like a pro. Destiny's narrative director, the one and only Allison Lures. Allison,
Hello.
how's it going?
It's going so good. I'm here on a couch and I get to yell about Destiny with you. So
Not
it's
a
a
bad
good day.
Yeah, honestly, I'll take that anytime I can. Well,
Same.
for anyone who also hasn't had a chance to yell on couches about Destiny with us or hasn't joined
Yell
us in the
on
past,
couches.
do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Allison. I'm the narrative director for Destiny 2, and so that means it's the job of me and my team to make you laugh and make you cry and make you go, whoa, I totally forgot about this thing from 8 years ago. How did they remember? It's because we're good at our jobs.
It's true.
So there you
Yeah, as someone who gets to sit in on the writers' rooms,
I would. I don't know about
go.
that,
We love
but
having you there.
So much fun. No, seriously, thank you so much.
they've had a lot
And
of
of course,
cuts.
as we move right on down the line, the gentleman
lot
there
of
at the very
cuts.
end of the couch, someone who is a friend to all Guardian kind, who's known far and wide, a member of the Destiny Global Comms team here at Bungie, Mr. Dylan Gaffner. How's it going, Dylan?
It's going well. How are you, Andy?
Oh,
Doing so
he's
well. Thank you
nervous.
so much for
Got to make
asking.
sure to ask every time.
I appreciate it. You need all the help I can get. Well, to anyone out there who may not have accosted you on the wild world of social media or is just somehow meeting you for the first time,
Oh,
do you mind
shit.
telling us about what you do here at
Accosted
Bungie?
you. It's
My
crazy.
name is Dylan Gaffner, formerly community team, where we would go out, collect your feedback, translate it to the dev team, and then bring their information back to you, kind of be that middleman. Now I'm on Global Comms, so
I
I'm
mean
going
to
to be
bake a
in more
nigga
of like a
cheese.
puzzle piece organization stage of what do we talk about, when do we talk about it, why do we talk about it, and then just making sure we get the information out to all players.
Yeah, well, we all appreciate it. Thank you for
I was
always
hungry.
being the voice of the player inside our hallowed halls. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, well, now that we've kind of got the intros out of the way, let's talk about our new saga. Robbie, I'd love to start with you. What's,
All right, here we
what's
go.
up next in Destiny, and where are we exploring?
Yeah, so our first expansion this year, The Edge of Fate, is the start of a brand new multi-year saga called the Fate Saga.
Okay.
And so we want to tell a story about something older, about the nature of fate itself. Are we bound by it? Can we fight it? Because before the Traveler ever arrived in our solar system, there was already space magic here, Andy.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, this is a story that we're going to explore one of Destiny's biggest mysteries and the foundations of the universe itself.
You're talking about the 9, aren't you?
The 9.
Yeah,
Told you.
I think it's
Subtle,
How did
I
you
know.
know?
I mean, you can see it in the
We
trailer.
did such a good job with this
We
secret.
buried that lead, didn't we?
Get a drink, yeah. Sure.
But I mean, to that end, so who, and maybe more appropriately, what are the 9?
Yeah, so buckle up. In the simplest description possible, the 9 are extraordinarily powerful beings that have been in the solar system for way, 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 way longer than the Traveler. We can think of them as being kind of connected to each of the major celestial bodies in Sol. So that's each of our 8 planets plus the sun. Sorry, Pluto.
It's messed up.
Didn't make the cut.
All right, fair.
I don't make the rules. Yeah, there you go. But the important thing to know about them is that this is why we're going to be so focused on the solar system for the next saga. We want to ask questions about our home that we've never asked before.
Yeah. So when it comes to the 9, obviously, Eagle-Eyed Guardians have been able to spot references to them for quite some time, whether it be outright ominous or a
There was a
straight-up
dungeon
game
for them.
show in some cases. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about what we should expect from them?
Expect to be surprised. We're, like you said, the lore of the 9 really ranges from like Star Horse infinitely neighing to the 9 doing genuinely awful, awful things in our lore. And so the important thing to know about them is that the 9 are individuals. This isn't a collective. It's not like a hive mind. Each of them are kind of their own being, their own person in the loose definition of a person. They have different wants and desires. They can ally with different members and fight with different members too. In the words of one of our characters really early on, there are aliens, and then there's aliens, and then there are aliens, and that latter one is what the 9 are qualified as.
Fair enough. All right, so beings of obviously immense power, something that the Guardians have gone toe-to-toe with in the past. We've even faced off against the very embodiment of the darkness itself.
Yeah.
What could be tougher than that?
Yeah, so this is something that we think about a lot about, because ultimately the 9 seek to free themselves at no matter the cost to humanity. And because they're extra dimensional in the ways that Allison are describing, they're not bound by the same rules that we are, that we've really experienced before in the game today. And so humanity and the Guardians, to many of them, are ultimately just bugs that can be squashed on, that they don't really care or think about beyond, you know,
Just
achieving
show
their
me a
ultimate
new
goals.
power, bro,
So-
please.
Yeah, I mean, like, for the last 10 years, Guardians have really just been making their own fate.
Yeah.
I mean, so the 9 is challenging that. How are we going to deal with it?
Yeah, whether we like it or not, the 9 have a plan for us. And like you said, Guardians are really good at making their own fate and going out and deciding who they want to be. But what happens when them deciding to make our own fate is exactly what our fate is? Like, what if that was the plan all along? These are extra-dimensional beings. That means they perceive our reality in a very different way and can interact with it in a very different way.
It's like they're a move ahead in chess.
Weird.
Yeah.
Reference. But you were mentioning, obviously the Fate Saga is one of
Yeah.
the subjects of today. How long can we expect the Fate Saga to last?
Yeah, so the Fate Saga is going to play out over several years, and ultimately, we know where we're driving this car. We know where we're going with it. But the conclusion of the Edge of Fate itself is going to leave you with more questions than answers, and it's going to be the catalyst into this new multi-year saga. Because we really want to return Destiny to being a game about big questions, right? And so the way we think about this is about pouring jet fuel into the speculation engine of the game. So we're going to be revealing a lot of ideas, a lot of concepts, and many of them we're not going to be answering immediately, because we're going to be telling the story over multiple expansions, and we're going to be giving you those expansion beats more times than we have before in the past. And so the Year of Prophecy kicks off with the Fate Saga, and with it, humanity is now set on a collision course with this celestial pantheon of the system that has been here for a very,
I don't
very
mind
long
that.
time. And so
I've always
the
wanted
Edge
to
of Fate
figure out some
launches
shit
on
about the
July
9.
15th, and then the second expansion of our Year of Prophecy is Renegade, which comes this winter, and then later in 2026 we've got Shattered Cycle and The Alchemist. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of exciting
I
things.
know.
And so again, the Edge of Fate
I know.
is just the beginning of this long journey of this awesome vehicle we're all jumping into. And
I
driving
miss
together, and
this
it's gonna
game
take us
though,
to
but it's
this new
just
place.
so bad right now.
So, with regards to the Edge of Fate right here in front of us, you were also nice enough to bring the class something today. You've got some gameplay with you,
Oh
right?
yeah, we got some clips.
Oh, yeah.
What?
We should show those off.
It's a
Let's
doozy.
Let's check it
Nothing
out.
like the present. Let's check it out.
All right, here we go.
Observe, connect, conceal.
If it's not a new,
Vision, conform, comply, return. They just wanted to show us disasters. Observe, connect, conceal.
can you hear it well? Is it
Not
too?
human anymore? Return, conform, comply. No one else should know what this feels like.
Okay, you're not showing me anything different though.
Terminate your suspicion, Commander.
That's
Remove
it.
Your scornful blindfold.
That's it, bro.
Observe, connect, conceal, conform, comply.
Okay, we became a little lightning ball, huh? Strand. Where's the Titan though?
Return.
That was nothing. That was nothing.
All right, that gives us an awful lot to go ahead and continue to dive into.
No, it does
And
not.
Here to help us go ahead and explore a little bit more of it. Everyone, you probably noticed we've been joined by someone new here on the couch. We are privileged to be joined by
Not
someone
enough
who's the
space.
originator of perhaps my favorite all-time Destiny emote, the one and only Dave Samuel, art director here at Bungie. Dave, how's it going, man?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For anyone who maybe for some reason somehow doesn't have that emote in their collection or hasn't seen you in a past Vidoc, do you mind telling us a little bit about what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, I'm art director on Edge of Fate. I work with the art team to visualize the narrative and design and kind of bring it all together.
It's a lot to bring together. Thank you very much for being here today. So with the Edge of Fate, it's obviously the first expansion in the Fate saga. Allison, I'd love to start with you, actually. What can you tell us about the Edge of Fate?
The Edge of Fate begins with an invitation, and we are invited, along with a very specific group of people, to a location, to a moment in time, for a very specific reason.
Very specific purpose.
Very specific reason and purpose, yes. And the place that we're going to is called Kepler. And so you may be saying, now Allison, hold on, hold your horses
You read my
1
mind.
second,
Yeah.
because the Kepler I know is the one that's way outside of our galaxy. What do you mean we're going to Kepler? And I say, like, dear friend, didn't you know if you look inside in Destiny's universe, the Oort cloud at the edge of the solar system, you'll find a little planetoid that also happens to be named Kepler here in the world of Destiny. And that's
Okay.
where we're going, to Kepler.
Super exciting. This is kind of a, Robbie, we were talking kind of before the show. This is like like a first taste of something new, right?
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is us just trying something new. We're expanding the universe of Destiny, creating new mysteries to uncover. This whole destination is about exploring a labyrinthian world that it took inspirations from things like Dreaming City, exotic missions, dungeons, and it's wrapping it all through a Metroidvania expired experience. And so at the heart of all of this, at the heart of the Edge of Fate, is a player-driven exploration and discovery of an exotic world with brand new abilities.
So actually to even just maybe dig a little bit deeper, like how is the Edge of Fate going to be different from past expansions that we've made for Destiny?
Yeah, so at the global scale, when we're thinking about expansions in the Year of Prophecy and the formula of Destiny expansions going forward, first off, we're doing 2 expansions a year instead of just 1. And think of each of these expansions as a little bigger than something like a Rise of Iron.
Yeah, you
from
gotta
D1.
you
so
gotta,
both of
like,
these expansions
pay for them every
combined
time,
are
though.
going to be even more expansion content than we've done in the past. And by delivering 2 of these a year, we're upping the pace of major world and story events that really matter to players and are going to be pushing the Fate
Hold
saga.
on, what
saga
is
forward.
that
And so,
stuff at the bottom?
We're trying
left
radical
there?
new things which each of these expansions. And so alongside this new destination of Kepler, this exotic world that players will explore with brand new abilities, we also
This-
have world tiers.
this
World tiers
doesn't-
allow
this
you to
does
take
not
on
look-
a higher level of
this
challenge
doesn't
on the
look
destination
different, though.
in order to attract some of the best loot. within the release. But what's cool about World Tiers is as you play through the mainline story and you play through the first couple of World Tiers, you're going to unlock later World Tiers. And as you're claiming these abilities, as you're exploring the world more, as you're discovering more within the release, you're putting these puzzle pieces together and you're figuring out how to solve all the mysteries on Kepler with different ways. And so you might play a puzzle in one way, a mission in one way, and when you're in these higher World Tiers in the post game, you can start to solve these problems in different ways that you couldn't before in the original playthrough. And so alongside all of this, we're also going to have a ton of quest content that we're rethinking about how we use within the game. And so on Kepler, there's some non-linearity within the destination itself. And so with a lot
What
of
the
our summer
fuck does
quest
that
content
mean?
that is related to the critical path, but you don't have to play it. It's there for you to explore. It's driven by your discovery of the world. You're out in the field, you discover something, and you pick it up, and that's going to help you explore the characters and the world of Kepler more and go deeper on that story. And so, yeah, again, this is all about us just looking at the
It's a
formulas that
dope-looking
we've
gun,
been building
though.
in Destiny over the last 10 years. And some of them are really strong, but they're due for some experimentation and some radical changes. And
I
so
didn't
that's
see
what you're seeing
any
here with the
gameplay
first
from the
taste of
Titan.
Fate.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm bugging.
I love everything you just said. I was a little distracted by some of the gameplay we were showing, like exotic sniper rifle. I think I saw, kind of recognize that.
Oh, yeah.
Some enemies with a couple really cool twists. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But then also there was a guardian that turned into like a lightning ball. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there's multiple new abilities
A
that
hunter.
your players are going to be able to discover on Kepler that's going to make them navigate and look at the world in different ways. But the one you're talking about, Dylan, is we see it as our premier ability, the crown jewel of the release, and that's called Matterspark. And Dave has joined us, and he's helps us take the vision of the narrative and the design and the art and smush it together in amazing experiences. And so I think Dave should talk to us more about Matterspark.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So there's this new source of energy on Kepler, this strange dark matter. So the Guardian binds itself to the dark matter using the arc powers within. You
What
can
the
think of
fuck?
dark matter as like a medium, and the arc is this catalyst that will allow you to completely change form. Transforming into Matterspark lets you squeeze into tight areas, race around areas, jump over stuff, and it also allows you to turn into this basically electric rolling ball of death, jolting and shocking enemies that come across your path.
That's
Obviously,
cool, but
one
can
big part
every
movement, one big
can
part
every
combat,
class
but,
use
I mean,
it?
even just in addition to that, to look a little bit, wider, like how did the Matterspark Ball kind of influence the world that we're going to be inhabiting?
Yeah, the team really had to rethink what it means to build a destination with these abilities in mind. A simple hill becomes a ramp to get to a new space. A crack in the wall, it basically will reveal a whole new area to explore. It's also a new way to engage with enemies.
Stabilizing
Instead of taking,
dark matter.
A bunch of enemies head on, you can find a Matterspark pad, transform, turn into this electric ball of death, and then just start racing around the arena, dash over their heads, and flank from behind, and then really give the House of Exile on Kepler a bad day.
As well, we should. It's a good.
So
day for us as
that's
well.
cool. Like
so what are
that's
some of the other
that
Kepler abilities that we'll be
traversal
able to
stuff is
unlock while
cool.
we're out there as well.
Yeah, so each of these Kepler abilities are a mix of dark matter and our Guardian's powers. So we have the Relocator Cannon, which is this new fallen dark matter tech mixed with void. This is going to allow you to bypass laser walls, use these cascading relay networks, and just basically teleport around the world. Another ability that we have is Mattermorph. This is dark matter mixed with strand, allows you to manipulate the environment. You'll be able to basically push and morph and move geometry to create bridges, open up doorways, and then also reveal secrets and new opportunities.
Yeah, so what's really important
That's
about
cool.
what Dave is describing, and when we were thinking about building this world, it was all about hey, here's this new tool to navigate and see the world in a different way and solve little puzzles and mysteries throughout the missions, the free roam, and the quest content, and beyond. But also what was really important to us is that we lean into Destiny's first-class ability gameplay. And so with Matterspark, like Dave is mentioning, you're jumping, you're dashing into enemies to destroy them. You're doing giant explosions.
Yeah,
with
but
them,
that's
with the Relocator Clan, and you're just blowing everything up with void explosions and graviton lance style like little secret projectiles. And then what's really fun about Metamorph is
you give it to
can just
every
be,
class.
Like, throwing these strange shurikens basically to just like delete an encounter before you then like start to morph the environment around you and move to the next area. And so it's just really exciting I'm incredibly excited about watching players just like solve puzzles and fight encounters in ways that like we don't even expect yet, and see how they take on the destination. And just like I really want to emphasize, you're going to be upgrading these, and when you get into especially the post-game experience, it's going to unlock. There's something unlocks with Matterspark that really changes the way that you can play through the entire destination.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about dark matter,
I don't know what flying.
Matter.
Yes.
We have darkness abilities like Strand and Stasis already. Like, how is dark matter different?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
thank you,
dark
thank
matter
you.
and darkness are two completely separate things. They're completely different things. But dark matter does exist in our world. In the world of Destiny, we know it as being tightly connected to the Nine. It's what the Nine are actually made out of. In our world, dark matter is invisible. You can't really see it. And it wouldn't be very fun to make a destination where there's an invisible thing that you can't actually see. So lucky for us on Kepler, there's a bioluminescent microbe that allows us to see all of this substance that's impacted this world so much. It allows us to see how it's impacted the plant life, how it's impacted the behavior of the peoples that we're going to encounter.
So dark
and
matter
we can
and
see
darkness
how it
are
has been
two
able
separate
to
things.
bring these things that are kind of unstuck in time
Okay.
into this current location.
I do have to put on my drifter hat for just a second and, like, what does it smell like? What does it taste like?
Yeah. Dark matter smells and tastes like bleach and math. Yeah, it's true.
Cannot wait to get that chip flavor.
Yeah.
Get it with a sandwich today after.
It's zesty.
Yeah, it's really good. Actually, so on the topic too of stuff in the trailer as well, we heard someone talking there. Can you tell us who that was?
Sure, that was
Darkness
Lodi.
is the lack of
Lodi
light.
is a new
Dark matter
character
is an
that we're
actual
introducing
thing.
In Apollo, not in Apollo. We're introducing him in the Edge of Fate.
I don't
wanna
know.
give a special shout
It's
out
too close
to
in
Ryan
name. They
Villalobos,
could have
who
come up with
portrays,
something else.
Lodi and does a
Sure.
spectacular job. This character is fascinating.
Looks good, though.
He's kind of a fish out of water, but the fun thing about tropes is to kind of put a twist on
Yeah.
it, right? So what if that fish that we pulled out of the water was the most qualified fish?
Because
to
now
be
you're
pulled
make
out
because
into
now
the
you're
air?
making a connection in your head
It's
of the
down for
same
anything.
thing.
And what if
Yeah.
that fish was kind of made to be pulled out of the water? I don't want to give away too much because this character is way more fun for the players to figure out what his deal is. But I will say that Lodi is very, very far from home.
Very fair, very exciting. So,
I do have to call out, too, before we started this, you and Robbie were talking about how Lodi is like a notice me character.
Oh, yeah. Robbie wanted a senpai.
I did. I wanted someone that I just wanted to
I
spend
can't
more
wait for
time
Destiny
with on this
mobile
new
code
adventure
because
we're
it'll be
going on.
removed from the
a
lore.
friend that we can look up to.
Yeah.
That isn't out yet.
Notice
Notice
me
me.
Lodi.
of course.
He will.
Right
That
to
isn't
yourself.
out yet. I thought it was
Or
out
rather,
already.
Allison does. So with regards to the characters as well, so is it a whole new cast of characters in the Edge of Fate?
No, we're going to see some new faces like Lodi and other characters, but we're also going to see some familiar ones too. Ikora is here. The stakes are high enough that she's here investigating what's going on. And as it turns out, in one of our major mysteries, she's kind of at the center of it. She was invited here, as was Lodi, same as we were. All of it's kind of tied together.
Very exciting. So
Yeah, the way. Oh, if I can.
No, no,
yeah,
please.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
please,
Like
yeah.
the way we think
Warframe
about this
Mobile
is
is out on
all these
iOS?
characters.
Oh, shit.
Their fates are intertwined.
I didn't
in
even
some
know
ways.
that.
There's these puppet masters that
Wow,
have
am
been
I
pulling the
that
strings
far
for a
off on
very,
this genre?
very long time in order for everyone to get here at this moment. And so, as a guardian and these characters involved, they're going to have to decide if they're fight your fate. Like that's what we think about. For these individuals, that's what they're going to have to go through and determine about how they can stand up to this new conflict that is surrounded by the Nine.
push
because
Once
they are
Human on mobile
fated to
too?
be here.
I
And
don't
what does
think
that
Once
mean for
Human
them,
needs
and
to
what
be
does
on
that mean for
mobile.
their future and the future of Soul itself.
So with regard to these new characters and this world we find ourselves in, was there anything about that setting or in particular that really influenced the creation rather of this world that we're going to be inhabiting?
Yeah, I'll give you a list of fun facts. First off, if you've been paying attention
It's
to
so
Destiny
buggy.
over the last week or so, you already know that there's been people on Kepler for a long time. That's an old-ass computer that you were putting those numbers into. We also know that the Vex are here. They're studying the Nine because it turns out the Nine can do something that the Vex can't. as Dave mentioned, the House of Exile are also here. They've become fixated on a being that they call the Giver. And kind of most importantly, the dimensionality on Kepler is really thin. So the 3 dimensions that we can know and see and touch are very close to the realm that the 9 live in. And that means some things from Earth's past have been yanked into Kepler's present.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
so
man.
we've been talking about
I feel like that's the
invitations
same
throughout this,
story
and-
over again.
and we need to call out an invitation that's actually going to be waiting in the game after this is over. Ride of the 9 begins today.
Yeah.
So I believe we have a trailer to show.
Yeah, you were nice enough to bring a trailer along. I'll go ahead and give it a look really
Yeah.
quickly.
Let's
Oh,
do it.
please, 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 just a third darkness class, bro. Available for all players. 3 dungeons? Wait, hold on. What dungeons? All right, I don't care about that. What dungeon? Oh, the dungeon's already here. Thanks for the likes, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a new dungeon. Okay. So new 9 gear, cool. And a spear too. There to answer their call. Rite of the 9 begins today. Okay.
All right, so that's Rite of the 9, which
Yeah.
is our essential prologue story for the Edge of Fate. And these 3 dungeons that are featured in this event are free for all players starting today. And so what's really important about this is that these dungeons are both for veteran dungeon crawlers, hardcore raiders, people have been in these places a lot, but also new guardians who have never stepped into a dungeon before, right? What was really important for us when we were developing Rite of the 9 was that we are changing the formula on how we can think about how we can welcome even more people into these experiences.
Make all the
you're gonna
old
be able to go
expansions
solo,
free.
buffed up, and explore a dungeon by yourself, or go
Make
and
all the old
match mate with
expansions
other
free.
Fire team members shoulder to shoulder for the very first time. But don't worry, because we also have that higher level challenge for our veteran, our hardcore dungeon crawlers, where you're going to be able to earn the best possible loot, exclusive rewards, and also an exclusive title as part of Rites of the 9. What's also really important about
Remove
this
light
event
level
for,
reset.
being a prologue for the Edge of Fate is that it really reintroduces the emissary into the game, and you're going to learn why her job is pretty crappy and why she quits at the top.
Yeah,
of
so
the
this
Edge
is
of Fate, like you
weird,
saw,
bro.
at the
This
beginning of this
this
show.
was
And so, Andy, we've been talking
Titan
a
Hunter
bunch about
Warlock
how
hybrid,
our
and I feel
Destiny
like they're gonna
expansions
make
are
this
changing
like
the
an
formula,
amalgamation of a
for Destiny
character.
going forward. So now I think it's time for us to start talking about how the core hobby of Destiny is changing going forward. The day-to-day of playing Destiny, week over week experience. And we've got someone else on the couch here to help us talk about that.
We have
A
an
wish
expert in
list.
that very subject now who's gone ahead and joined us on the couch. We are now joined by the one and only Mr. Ben Womack.
Bring back
creative
old
director here on
zones.
Destiny. Ben, how's
All
it
the
going,
content
man?
that we
I'm
already
doing
bought.
great. I'm really excited to be here. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
Read through the red war.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good conversation we have coming up.
Yes.
But before we get into that, can you tell us just a little bit about what you do here?
Yeah. So I'm the Destiny 2 creative director for the core game, or the core hobby, as we call it.
Yeah.
And it has to do with all parts of the game, everything from Edge of Fate, through our seasons, through the fundamental systems. And in particular, like Rob was saying, I've been focusing on thinking about the kind of
600
building
likes,
blocks
let's
of Destiny 2
go.
and getting
Thank you.
those, like, not only stood up, but also transformed and iterated on in some really exciting new places.
Nice. Well, let's go ahead and just start at the top. Can you tell us a little bit about what the core formula of Destiny is changing and why?
Yes, so I think I need to start with the why first, because it's important to think about what is Destiny, what is great about Destiny. And Destiny is best when you have awesome chases that you're excited about, you have really cool, powerful builds to make, and there's a mountain to climb that's right in front of you that you want to climb. You're like, I want that mountain. It looks pretty cool. And
So the
thing that
level
is not
the
always true
level
right in Destiny
reset
is, it
the
doesn't feel
level
streamlined.
reset is
As
like a.
players don't have as much.
I understand the
agency. They want to
concept.
be
You're
player-driven. They
trying
want
to
be more
put everyone
rewarding
on the
than
same
they are.
playing
Because
field
right now
for a
there
new
are
expansion,
barriers
right?
to playing Destiny in the
But
best way.
they do
And
the
those barriers are
same thing where they
insurmountable
just
sometimes. So think
completely
about that whole
eliminate
picture of, okay,
things that
what is
you've
the
already
Destiny that
had.
you really want?
Eliminations,
It has been in the past
is
that we also want to get back
so
to where we're
hard
going
in
in the
games,
future.
man.
That's where all the changes you're going to see have started, at their inception.
Gun
point.
zones,
So
all of
it's
that
a big
shit.
piece of the pie.
Massive updates coming across so many systems of the game, and we're just
So they
this is
just
like
put everybody
we're
back
just
on the
getting
same
in,
playing
digging into
field,
the surface.
and that's
Yes,
like
yeah.
I mean, to that same end, then, how are we making it easier? Pardon me, to go ahead and just get straight into the fun.
Oh no,
of
let's
Destiny?
do it, because that's exactly what we want to do. And the first thing you're going to see when you log into Destiny with Edge of Fate, you're going to log in your character and see your ship in orbit. It's going to say, it's not going to say open directory. It's going to say open portal. And the portal is our new front page of the game. We're trying to get you to the fun as fast as possible and as few clicks as we can. We even have Edge of Fate there in the corner so that it's right immediately there.
Oh,
fumbling around the map to get to
no.
it, really. And we're also taking
Oh,
other parts of the game, the ritual
no.
game for seasons, and putting them into these ops categories. So the idea is that we're having these different ops for different moods. We're having solo ops. We have a bunch of fire team ops. We have pinnacle ops, and of course we have crucible ops. Still super important for the game.
Yeah. I mean, to start up at the top, can you tell us a little bit more about what solo ops?
Oh yeah.
entails?
So solo ops is exactly what it says on the tin. It is.
But whenever they
a
just
bunch of
make
activities that
game,
are
they
made
could
for
just
solo
eliminate
players.
the maps
And
for games.
the
It just
conception
makes the
point of that
experience so much less.
was we want to make activities for players who have a smaller amount of time that they want to play in, and they don't necessarily want to have dependencies on other players, but they still want to get in there and play for 10 to 15 minutes and get some real progress.
Yeah, get some loot.
Yeah, get some loot.
Yeah.
Get some loot and
Removing, not removing, but
giving,
making it easier for accessible for the map is not going to help you. That's not it.
Well, that's
It's
fine, because we have an activity type that is designed for one player.
Excellent. So, I mean, to that same end, what are some other ways
Doing
that we
too
can
much.
play and have fun using Portal as well?
Yeah, so Robbie actually has a great way of talking about this.
Yeah, some of the North Star that is what we talk about when we were developing the portal early on was where are we headed with this thing? And ultimately, it's play your way. It's giving players more agency, more personal drive to figure out how they want to engage with the power climb and the new progression systems coming and our seasons. And so the entirety new progression and power climb is now all available to you in the portal at your fingertips in one place. It's really easy to find, really easy to jump in. Anything you play inside of that category any of those categories is gonna help you make progress. And so, because we want Destiny to be welcoming not only to new players, but also old players who are coming back to the game to join us with the Edge of Fate. And
you
we also
have
want
to
this
make
be
it
like a new even
accessible
playing field
rather
for
than
everyone.
easy. I know that's
And
the
so
same word,
as
but
part of this is a commitment from us as part of the core hobby and all the seasonal content we're building, that we're going to be continually investing in this, right? We're going to be continually updating this over time for years to come.
I'm not sure
And
if this
so,
is going to make
you
it
know, you're
any
asking
better
directly,
though.
like, what else is
I'm
there
not
to do?
sure. I'm not
Ben
sure.
mentioned solo ops. We also have the fire team ops and pinnacle ops. Both these are more around playing with other fire team members, shoulder to shoulder.
We have to
quicker
see.
Sessions. There are some longer
1,200
form
likes,
too,
let's go.
But then pinnacle ops are more about those really long form or more challenging kind of focused activities like exotic missions, for instance. And so. And then the one thing we haven't talked about yet very deeply, but is incredibly important, and it's something that I think we've done for the first time ever, or maybe since early D1.
It's kind of a return to form.
Yeah. You're going to be able to experience
it's
the
toxicity
entirety
through
of
every
the power
game, though.
climb within Crucible Ops by playing PvP.
They just
right?
expect a lot.
So this means if you want to be sweaty, Andy, which I know you, Dylan, too. I know you're that way, right? I know both of y'all. If you want to put the sweatbands on, you're going to be able to play the entire experience in the season here and earn some of the highest tier loot that's also available.
Hold on. I have to
I have
just
to say, this is,
have them
super
shut up for a
exciting.
second, just to speak my mind, because this is just for chat, right? So fuck whatever they're saying right now. When you make things look like that, make it easier for people just to get to point A to point B, you're creating a completely curated experience. So Destiny is tunneling less into who you are as a guardian, who you are as a character, who you are as a playthrough, and more as the way that they want to push you into getting things done, right? They've had critiques about the time that it takes to get things done. And hold on, this might be interesting.
That we've released in the past that are going to make this big curated web of options for you to experience any of the PvE content in the curator. And so, we have Banes, not just old
Yeah,
Banes
look,
that we
they're
have,
literally
but new Banes
curating it.
as well.
I mean,
With
this is
boons
fine,
to
right?
help
This
you
is
get
this is
advantages,
tailoring
activities
difficulty.
and for your build, we have challenges and trade-offs, and the fun part
That's
is you're going
fine,
to
but
get these different combinations.
I'm not a fan of completely curating an experience, like them curating the experience for us and us having that in the ability to create, because then you're becoming more in depth. you're becoming more. I wouldn't say emotional, but you're
Spider-Man
becoming
math.
more attached to the
Math.
game when you do
It's
that.
actually super fun.
It's so fun. Yeah, and what's at the
Immersive.
heart
There's
of
less
what Dave's
immersive
talking
now.
about is what we kind of call the virtuous cycle, right? Where you're going to be crafting your build, tinkering with
Like
the
someone
activity,
will get a
looking
rare
at like how
exotic,
you can earn
a rare exotic
higher
first
tier
run and get
reward
kicked.
by taking on a higher challenge. And as you earn,
I've
better
never had
loot,
that issue,
You're looking
but-
towards that next mountain to climb, just ahead of you all the time. And so this is really about how far you want to push yourself upwards within the portal itself, but also
Those are just
we also are thinking
asshole
about the
people
and that's
at
the
that
depth,
point.
right? That's the depth of the challenge that we're talking about. That's also, but we're also thinking about the people who don't have as much time to play with like solo ops, and also if you're scared
Yeah, but
of
that's-
modifiers or you're scared of customizing these things.
Yeah,
you
but
just don't
that's
feel like it today.
no,
Yeah,
but
great way to
that's
describe it. Thank
so
you.
that's
We have
where
a
I
bunch of
would
quick
argue
options,
with you
right?
about.
Yeah, quick play options, and we.
That's where I would argue with you about timing. Is that you can create a game that is understanding of someone's time, but also not fully put them into a tunnel, into a bubble to play the game. Let them create their experience for them, and by doing so, whatever their time constraints are, they will have the ability to say, oh, I could put it down here, put it down there. Doing a dungeon 40,000 times to get a raid exotic, it's kind of ridiculous. Because you have to sit there and keep doing it.
Take it and say,
But,
I don't want Weenie Hut Jr. I
but
want, like,
rather than like
esoteric
doing a
level,
quest
solo,
line that you
hardest
could
thing in
pick
the
up and
world,
stop
you can kind of customize
in
it.
order to get something, or
Just do it from the very start if you
getting
want to.
pieces to
And
build it.
that's
I don't
You
know.
wanna
something
go.
like that.
Really?
Yeah, and the point is that you're going to like stretch that.
But
far,
giving
and
them a
want
whole,
everyone to feel
like giving players like a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah, you want to feel like as you're pushing yourself, you are rewarded for it. That is
It's
something that's
annoying.
really important to the vision here for the portal.
Rewards. Huh.
rewards. There are a lot of rewards, aren't there?
It's funny you mention it. Yeah, we've got Banes, Boons, modifiers, but let's talk about gear for a little bit here.
Yeah.
What's changing about loot and
I want to talk
Guardians
about
gear?
class.
So like talking about chasing.
Why aren't you
mountains
talking
and
about
builds,
class?
gears
You're
at the
talking about
center of
abilities. I
all
want to
of
hear
that.
about class.
And
If,
we
if
actually
they're
have
making an
two
amalgamated
giant
class, I'm
gear
gonna be mad.
changes I'm gonna like put in two little buckets for us to talk about.
Yep.
The first one is armor 3.0. And the next one is gear tiers. And so, like, talking about Armor 3.0 first,
Armor
we
3.0.
are probably making the biggest change ever since Shadowkeep
It's
around
huge.
the system. It's
yeah,
enormous.
It's a huge change.
Yeah, so like we're adding set bonuses, which is
Health?
a long-requested feature for all the new armor that you're going to be able to get at Edge of Fate launch. And
What
we're
the
redoing
fuck is
all the
this?
stats on armor, where they can now like exceed 100.
Go beyond 100.
Go beyond 100 for
Yeah.
extra bonuses.
Yep.
We're going to every single piece of new legendary armor that drops is going to have all the energy filled in, so you can build crafting right away, and it's going to essentially like. There's more features actually that I could talk about, but I don't think I'm allowed to yet.
Fair. Well, something that we can't talk about too. You mentioned gear tiers as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so gear tiers are very exciting because every single legendary weapon and armor that you can get is going to have 5 gear tiers, starting from 1 going up to 5. And like we have a 5 gear tier 5 piece of legs armor on the screen right now, and you can see that like this is like looks really cool with iconography, but it also has a ton more stats. And oh look, what's that?
Yeah, what's going on with the energy there?
yeah,
Health,
Ben?
melee,
energy says
grenade,
11.
super,
Ah,
class,
True.
weapons.
Yep.
It's not a typo.
Oh
like
my
energy is going
God,
to 11
bro.
for higher tier.
Why'd you?
Armor.
I mean,
and so if you
like
want that for your
you
build
just
crafting opportunities, it
you
does, like,
didn't
give
have
some
to change the
options you didn't
name.
have
That's kind of
before.
like the
You're gonna have
lore
to
of the
challenge
class.
yourself to get more higher tier armor. and
1500
to
likes,
get-
let's go.
Get more higher tier armor to get those
Thank
options.
you.
Yeah. And this is also not something that's just relegated to armor, right? When it comes to weapons, they're obviously getting their own refresh as well.
Yes,
Yeah, What's Destiny without chasing some?
You read
hot
my mind.
weapons?
Yeah, like weapons
seriously.
are part of the player identity. You know, some people like have a gun that they love.
You
and
got fashion, and then you have gunplay.
that's
right?
true. Though we do have fashion for your guns a bit now.
Hey.
well, so because once you reach tier 5 for your legendary drops, you're going to be getting tier 5 weapons, and those have unique shader treatment. It's like essentially a completely different look that's going to immediately identify it to you and others that this is the highest tier gear of this drop that you can get. It's going to show on the weapon. It's going to show on the icon. It's
So
even
I'm
gonna
not
show
mad about them
when you
putting it
kill
as a
enemies with that
tier.
weapon because there's
I'm not
unique
mad at
kill
all,
effects for
but
tier 5
I'm not,
weapons.
like,
You can turn on or off if you don't want it. but
Tiering a
your
weapon
gameplay will like show that,
tells
oh, yeah,
you
the
like,
weapon
okay,
that
this
is being
it
used
gives you an
is, like, the highest
identifier
tier you
that
can
it's
get.
like,
Yeah, Giver's Blessing, which I think we have on screen right
which
now.
was
is one of
harder
the Kepler
before
auto
because you
rifles.
really
I
want to know
I cannot
what
put this thing down.
what gun you
yeah,
could
when we're
have if
playing,
you weren't
through
like
the
up
Edge
to
of Fate
date
right
on
now.
what roles you needed.
And what's really exciting about it for me is that like when you see that tier 5 drop, like you know immediately that's better than like a tier 3 or tier 4 weapon that you have, right? And I think that's when we talk about making Destiny easier to just jump in, find the fun, make it accessible, but also create more depth. You know, this is what we're thinking about. It's like how can we
that's
make
good.
it immediate, like you understand,
That's
okay,
good.
this is probably better than the thing I have. Right
Because
now, depending on what gear to use.
I mean, that's a,
tiering a
that's good
weapon
example of how much time and
before
effort is
would
being put
be
into these game
optional.
systems
Like,
to
if,
make them more like
not
approachable.
optional, it's opinion.
Change can be
So like,
scary.
oh,
There's a
someone
lot of
might
change that's about to come
like
to the
this
game.
role,
We're
this
Armor
god role
3.0,
because
we have
it
so many
does
new
this,
boons, we
because
have
it
a
has
bunch of
the
new stuff.
skills.
And
But that's
after 10 years
objective.
of
They
Destiny,
never
this is
like
gonna flip
really
some
put
stuff on
like
its head.
a.
So I mean, we're gonna
This
have a bunch
weapon
of
is
blog
better than
content,
this
we're gonna have
weapon.
interviews with
Stick
Robbie,
on
with
it.
Ben, with more folks across the team that have been working on this, and then we'll also be elevating our creator community when they're creating guides, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a fun time, but ultimately, a big shout out and thank you to all the folks that have been coming into our studio, giving feedback early on some of these systems so they can be more approachable. And we're looking forward to all the feedback that's going to be coming after launch too. Like, this is again one of our first steps into something, and then the community and we are going to build something amazing.
Yeah, and I can't stress enough how much feedback we've gotten from the community summits we've been running over the last year for the Edge of Fate, and just people reaching out to the community teams and others to us. Like, your feedback is invaluable.
They have that.
So, like, seriously, like, thank you so
A
much.
damage calculator, I
We're
believe
making
they
this game
have.
together, ultimately.
Yeah, it's incredibly important.
No,
part
they
of the
don't,
process.
actually, you're
Like,
right.
I don't think we would be able
No,
to
you're
be
right.
able to do
You're
without
right.
it.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. They
Working
don't.
with the community is obviously a core part.
Yeah, I'm
Dylan,
thinking
huge
about
thanks
another
to
app
you and your team,
that's
obviously, for helping
we
lead
use
that
all the time,
charge.
but that's not
in advance for the big
in-game.
longs you
You're
get to
right.
write, and then
Oh.
also our social media team. We'll go ahead and get out the door, so go ahead and give us a follow.
I think,
across the
Ben,
board, but
you were saying you wanted to try to break the record for longest TWID?
I'm more predicting we are.
Yeah. So
Well, it's not about try, it's the state of things.
it's going to be a multi-month journey as we head towards launch. So.
yeah, be a good time. But you know, we've been talking a lot about the core Destiny hobby. How does that extend into like how players are going to experience like a full year of Destiny?
Yeah, so we've been focusing on improving and changing the formula of Destiny in multiple ways. And so progressing through the Fate Saga is going to be more meaningful with 2 expansions a year. We've been talking about how focusing our seasons and on the core hobby of Destiny, and our commitment
Renegades.
to continually updating it. And in
Shadow
addition,
and
we're
Order.
going to have 2 free major updates between each of our major expansions coming in the Year of Prophecy and beyond. And so ultimately that means there's 4 big beats happening in a year, 2 expansions, 2 free major updates between those expansions. So what that means we're not doing is paid seasonal content anymore. We're not doing separate seasonal storylines. And this also means we're not building a bunch of activity content that basically just goes away and is less meaningful to the game after 3 months. So we're instead focusing all of that effort that used to go there instead into
my
building
same
up
sentiment.
the core hobby of the game, so the core hobby stays fresh and exciting, year round. And so ultimately, this means no more paywalls for seasonal content, and also these major updates themselves that I'm signposting around right now. The size of them, roughly, and the inspiration for them, we're thinking about is like Into the Light.
Okay.
So when you say like into the light, for folks that aren't out there, like what for a major update, how big is that? Like how do you encapsulate
Yeah,
that?
so when I say Into the Light, a lot of this is like the inspiration of what it was. And with Into the Light came a really cool theme that wrapped around all the new stuff we were building within it, but also a lot of the reprise stuff as well. And also, with it came Onslaught, a new type of activity. It came with reprised exotic missions and a rethinking of how we could do like a rad style event, a raid event with the Pantheon.
A rad
so our first
style
major
event.
update coming a few weeks after the Edge of Fate launches, we've got Ash and Iron. Right? And so with Ash and Iron, we're going to be returning to the Plague Lands.
Return to the Plague Lands, can't wait.
It's going to happen.
Plague Lands, baby.
And so that story is going to pick up from where we left off, from the Edge of Fate. And with it, we're going to have a new activity called Reclaim, a brand new exotic mission, new types of pinnacle ops entering that for the first time, as well as, of course, what's Destiny without loot to chase. We've got new gear, new rewards, and 2 new exotic weapons as part of Ash and Iron as well. And again, this major update and all the seasonal content going forward is free for all players. All the activity content that exists in the portal, that's free to play.
Very nice. So even to actually go
That
one
exists
quick layer
in the
two
portal is
deeper
free
on
to play?
seasons as well. What are some of the cool things that we're going to be able to do in the season that's launching alongside the Edge of Fate?
Yeah, Ben has been working on this space for the team for a while now, so I'm going to kick this one to him.
Yeah, so we're trying to make any time the best time to hop into Destiny. And one of the ways we want to do that is we want to invest in events that are like accelerating the game and enhancing every part of the game, but also bringing new cool stuff. And actually, we've been working on this so long, we actually have some new cool stuff coming.
That's kind of a
before
hard
the end.
question
special little
because
Yeah, special little treat
some of
about it.
them
So,
were
this Friday, you can
exotics
play a
from
little
previous
event, you've heard of
games
it called Heavy
that
Metal,
are basically
which
copy
is
and
tanks
paste,
versus
and
Brits,
some of
the
them
new
were
PvP
new.
mode. It's super fun.
What the
I
fuck?
would kind of wish I was playing it right now, not gonna lie.
Oh, what the hell is this?
But the thing that people at home don't know is we have a new reward. That's a unique thing in Destiny if you invest in this event.
Oh, this is cool.
It is a free-to-play event. So this reward is free-to-play. It is a new combat vehicle that goes in your Sparrow sled, combat Sparrow, if you will, called the Griffin. And this is a really cool, like, combat-ready vehicle you can take anywhere you can summon a Sparrow. You can summon it and use it to fight your enemies and just have a really good time. And there's some
that's cool.
There's some really cool build crafting things with this vehicle that I don't want to spoil right now, what you'll discover, but I'm super excited for it.
That's cool.
We're gonna ride those skimmers forever.
Well, I mean, we've been saying like, what was it? Skimmer is Flash, and the Griffin is Splash.
Hey, there we go. The dad joke quota has been met.
We got to get one in.
Give me a tank Sparrow and a hover bike.
Man, like you've got more for us, don't you?
Oh yeah. So like I just said, there's more events that we've been making. There's one that's going to happen right after the launch of it.
2,000 likes.
Arms Week.
Fuck.
And it's a 1 week long event, and you're going to be focusing on one weapon archetype in Arms Week whenever it comes around. And this one is going to give you a new legendary weapon of that type. It's going to have some volatile mods that are there for the week that are going to be super interesting and fun to play with, and some focusing you can do. But there is a problem when you say this event is going to be about weapons and about using them.
Yeah, you got to have a place to test all that out.
Right. And so I mean, I've been doing that in EDZ this whole time. I don't know about the rest of you.
Those poor dregs.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Those
there
poor
is a new way
dregs.
now. We have a new feature, a long requested feature that is being added to the game with Arms Week. It is the shooting range. And the shooting range is being added to the tower. It is a now permanent addition to the game with the launch of Arms Week. We're not taking it away. And you can go there and you can try
Test
out
weapons?
everything in your kit, everything about your build.
Oh, bro,
With all
let's
sorts of simulations
go.
of different kinds of enemies and situations.
That's cool.
And it's all real damage numbers.
That's
it's
not
like,
bad.
It's even got a scoreboard.
It's even got a scoreboard
For you
right there.
and your fire team.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
there
got
you
a
go,
whole
damage
range that you
counter.
can go down into the shooting range and try out. Like, see exactly how well you're going to do for some kind of boss at this range or
I was
with
gonna
a
say,
strategy.
who can do most of the damage, right?
Yeah, well,
Fuck,
you're probably
man.
going to know.
So we have a rally flag. It's not just a shooting range. Like, you can go beyond the firing line and use your abilities too.
Yeah, you totally can. And like, if you wanted to, you could even take in Prismatic and pop Transcendence and try that out. And well, I think the reason why we're not seeing that right now is because it's a Titan.
Yeah, it's a good soldier.
Yeah.
Standing on that firing line.
Yeah, staying on the firing line.
All about building that line and standing.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
A lot of theory crafters are going to have to go ahead and have some upheavals to their Google Docs, I'm guessing.
This will be a really good tool. Like, as we're adding all of these different
Google
systems
Doc,
with
you
gear
hear
tiering
this?
and all of that, you can go in and check those
What's up,
damage
dude?
numbers in real time. Like, how do my stats change? How are these different gear bonuses going to affect my gameplay? You can see it in the tower now.
Yeah. And while we're talking about weapons,
Oh yeah,
got
well
one more thing, right?
Yeah, I know. There's
You
one
are
more
just
thing.
too good.
I'm excited. So there's more events. Of course, there's more events, and the holiday events are coming up. Where Solstice is right around the corner.
It's
as well.
summertime, right?
It's summertime. Summertime is Solstice time in Destiny 2, and Solstice has some really cool twists and such that we're planning. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. I want to show you all the new hollow foil treatment we have for Solstice weapons. So here we go. This is the hollow foil treatment for Solstice in 2025. It is
so good.
It's amazing every time I look at it.
Yeah.
It is an ocean
On a
and
gun.
the line. Yeah, we put the ocean on a gun. How did we do that? It's beautiful. I love it. And any kind of weapon that drops for this event can have a hollow foil.
Yeah,
no
so
matter
it could
what
be a
the
tier 1 or tier 3. Yeah, any
exactly.
weapon can have a hollow foil.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
like
This
all the
is
tier
the
5 hollow foil.
like
Ooh.
gameplay.
That's
Come
some
on,
good chase.
mechanics. Come
Our
on.
other events will
World.
also have hollow foils.
Yeah, like Arms
Not-
Week we're talking
Arms Week will
about.
have its own hollow
like that's
foil
cool
option
and
where
all. I get that,
the-
but like
every event, a major event we have will have a hollow foil treatment. The holidays will have their own kind of special one, but yeah, Arms Week will have their hollow foil drops that you find as well.
Let don't tell us
It's gonna be a
that.
good
Like
time. I'm
let
gonna
us
have
experience.
Way too much stuff to chase down, so appreciate you guys putting all the hard work in, obviously for that. But I believe we've got one more thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot about here are the free updates coming to Destiny, the portal, a bunch of different stuff, Edge of Fate, but we also have another expansion, and we need Allison back on the couch today.
Thank you for the share, my
Yeah,
boy.
Allison.
She's the best one to talk
Yeah,
There we go.
we've got something very exciting, and so once again, Allison, thank you for taking the time to
All
join
right,
us today. We
she's
appreciate it.
she's
I'm
the
so
she's
excited
the
to be one more
story.
thing.
Yeah, it's a tradition around here, so we're glad that you could obviously go ahead and
and
lead us into
please
this one.
just
But,
let it
as Dylan
be-
mentioned, we've talked about the Edge of Fate, but this is the first year we're going to be doing 2 expansions
Yeah.
over the course of a year. can you tell us a little bit about Renegades?
Yeah, so we're going to have a dedicated reveal for Renegades in September alongside our major update, Ashen Iron. But earlier we were talking
the
about
fuck
how
is
sometimes
this?
our formulas can constrain us from experimenting and innovating. And so in that spirit, Renegades is going to be very different from the Edge of Fate. What I can tell you, and we'll talk plenty
Why
about
are
it
you
later,
invalidating the
is that
first
we are
swing,
going to be
bro?
experimenting and innovating with activities, with social mechanics, and more. But more importantly, I want to talk about our inspiration. And so I have to kind of tee it up first. So Renegades is going to be a Destiny, like definitively Destiny expansion. This is part of the Fate saga, and it's going to push it forward in important ways and introduce characters that we're going to
It
spend
sounds
time
like,
with for
give
years
us
to
more
come.
money, bro.
It is an essential Fate saga story. And it's an homage to a universe that has inspired Bungie from the start.
It's gonna be Star Wars.
It's a universe that all of us here on the couch grew up with, as well as everyone else at the studio and millions of you back at home too.
I'm not
It is
mad
a
at Star
peanut butter
Wars,
and
but-
combination, a peanut butter and like chocolate combination inside of what we're making that could only be possible in the kind of world that we build here. And so I am absolutely thrilled to be able to give our first sneak peek at Destiny 2 Renegades.
What the fuck is this? They just doing Star Wars shit. They think that's gonna bring everybody back, bro. Stop, dude. I'm not mad at this, but I'm also like, this just feels like a cash grab, bro. For pre-order.
Okay.
A lightsaber.
Robbie, what did we just see?
Yeah, so that's Renegades, which is coming out this December. And to really drive it home here, Renegades is a one-of-a-kind Destiny experience, right? And just like we on the Destiny team have taken inspiration from other genres like dark fantasy or cosmic horror, Renegades takes the space western vibe and aesthetic that is Star Wars, and it puts it through that Destiny lens. And ultimately, it's created a new lawless frontier that is emerging within Seoul. And so, like, we're so excited.
The problem is I'm such a
to show
huge,
Renegades off a little bit today,
I'm
and
such
be
a
talking about
huge
it more in the future
like
in
Star
September
Wars fan
alongside,
that
the major,
if
three
Star
major
Wars
updates
was
to
doing
Ashen
it, I
Iron.
mean,
But
if
right
Destiny
now,
2
today,
was doing
we're
it
focused
in a
on Ride
lens
the
of
Nine
like,
and what's right around the corner
this is
with
gonna be a
Fate
cosmetic only
September. A lot of
thing,
calendars
or
getting
it
out
is
just
gonna
now
be a
in
bigger
September,
story
but no,
expansion
super
thing.
excited to share more of that in the future. But
You're
that actually
invalidating your
leads us
first
to the
story.
conclusion
You're
of
invalidating your
today's
first
show,
big
which, again, we
expansion.
covered a lot
There's
in
been a lot.
with-
Yeah, this has been a
Like
big
a few
show.
things.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, we went through a
This,
lot of it. So let's go
like
ahead and
Renegades
quickly
feels
double-check.
smaller
We
in
obviously
scope
went through and,
than
Year of Prophecy. Part of
Edge
the
of
video going to
Fate.
kick off on July 15th, and this kicks off a brand new multi-year Fate saga and our new focus on the core hobby of Destiny. The first expansion, The Edge of Fate, is going to
I
be
knew it
launching
was
again on
fucking
July 15th,
Destiny.
as
I knew,
noted,
I
with its
knew it. I
raid
knew it
launching
the
on
moment I
July
saw the
19th.
font
Okay,
that it was
hold
gonna
up.
be Star
Yeah,
Wars.
So you're going through a lot of information. We already covered that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, you can't just sneak in a raid date. We have a new raid coming
Yeah.
with the expansion, July 19th. We're gonna have a bunch of blogs. We're gonna have the rules.
3,000
all that
likes,
kind of
let's
stuff for our
go.
Raid race. We invite everybody to
annoyed.
come in, try to go for that world first title. And yeah, I mean, just stay tuned for more details. We're not gonna spoil anything. It's a raid. We got to keep it secret.
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody mark your calendars.
Yeah. Bungie.net is the place to go ahead and learn more. And again, follow our social media channels. Do us all a favor. So in addition to that, again, as we've noted, Ashen Iron, our first free major update, will be launching on September 9th. Renegades, very exciting, will be launching in December. And then keep an eye again on our social channels. We'll provide all the updates once they're available. But as far as today goes, the Edge of Fate and the entire Year of Prophecy pre-orders are available starting right now. Now, pre-ordering for starters, the Ultimate Edition will go ahead and unlock the New Land Beyond.
Here we
Land
go,
Beyond,
bro.
that
Here we
exotic
go.
sniper. Ooh, I can't
Throwing
wait.
in
I
the
can't wait.
pre-order
Seriously.
to give you the
That'll be
exotic
unlockable in
gun.
addition to several other goodies, and also we've also got a collector's edition that'll be available.
You gotta be
you can
fucking
see here on
kidding me.
screen that will be coming with an awful lot of very cool stuff, including this cool statue that you may have noticed here that's been sitting with us on stage. This is one that you can go ahead and add to your collection as well, but that's not all that's in there. Is there, Allison?
We got the writing team got a little excited on this one. We put a lot of lore goodies into this collector's edition. So like that weird metal thing, that weird envelope. Boy, weird. Wonder what's up with that.
Just decorative
You should
points?
probably read it. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna do a dramatic reading as soon as
Yeah,
we're
we should
done.
go downstairs immediately after.
It's
this.
really
Oh yeah, right after this.
Count me in. And then again, too, as far as today goes, Rite of the Nine. This is the essential prologue to the Edge of Fate, and like all of our events moving forward, is going to be a free to all players. So make sure and go ahead and check that out when that arrives. And before the show wraps up, make sure and stick around for a little bit longer. We're going to be rating our good friend Sammy Cat as well. So
Yo,
go ahead and give her a follow.
no,
Tell her we said
no.
hello in chat. Pardon me. If you have any Twitch Prime subs or anything like that, go ahead and do us a favor. Drop it over there and check out her stream. She's going to be having a good time. But that concludes it for us here today. So for starters, huge thanks to my teammates here for joining me.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, yeah. Robbie, Allison, Dylan, of course. There we go. We got Ben, and of course, Mr. Dave Samuel. Thank you all so much for being
It's
here
not
today.
even like
and then, of course, to the crew that puts all this on.
Thank you,
This doesn't happen by accident. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work. And
bro. The
dealing
problem is
with
I don't
me
want to.
on the
I
last
don't want to
couple of
like
days.
just keep talking
and
shit
of course,
about
to everyone
this
at
game.
home,
That's
to
my
all of our
problem.
guardians out there in the community.
I really
thank you.
want to go
It's
back
a
and play
tremendous
it.
privilege to get the opportunity to share what we've been working on early, and it matters only if you guys show up.
I'm
and
in the
join us.
DC
So
if you
we
wanna
really
talk.
appreciate it.
I was
We hope
watching
you
the live
enjoyed.
stream.
And otherwise, in the meantime,
I feel it.
until
I
we see you
feel your
again,
face,
take
bro.
care
I
of
can
yourselves,
feel it.
Take care of
Come,
each other,
come.
and we'll
I'm
see
here.
you all Starside.
Oh my god, dude. This didn't fucking show anything. Is this it? Is this it? Like, am I done watching this?
You're streaming, right?
Yeah, I'm streaming. Poyo,
okay,
hold on, Poyo.
Okay. I'm gonna tell
all right,
my
let's
work.
just
Like,
first off, let's just say what was good about the game. Like, let's just say what was good. What was
doing
what was
big
good?
changes to approaching content, and I'm happy that they're actually trying that.
You're
Gears,
so smart. You are so
Armor
smart.
3.0. I expected that, honestly. That's not a surprise. I'm like, okay, Armor 3.0, let's go. Gear bonus, like set bonuses. I expected that. That was coming at some point. Cool. Some of that, basically, what I saw from Edge of Fate is we're playing Metroid. We are playing Metroid Prime. You turn into a ball and you go into crevices. We are playing Metroid. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with it being Metroid. Whatever. What are they doing with Renegade? What is going on there?
I had the same reaction.
Mark,
Does that not
what the-
feel like
like,
cash grabby?
No. Is this so? All right. We had that Star Wars collab already, right? Cool. Is this them going full? Like, is that just them adding Star Wars weapons to an expansion that feels like a Star Wars story?
Yes.
That is smart as hell. That's smart as hell.
You find it.
That's
Okay,
more what
so
it felt like.
you find it. You
It
find
didn't
it.
feel like oh, we're doing Star Wars in Destiny, right? It felt more like, yeah, we're doing the space western style. We're also bringing in Star Wars collab again. That's what it looked like to me.
Well, because that was the
Oh, I
big
didn't
money.
know
That was a big money maker for them. I'm not. My thing is, I'm not mad that they're doing a side story with Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You're a huge Star Wars fan.
But
It's
see,
a big
this is
deal.
the misconception. That's the misconception. I don't think it's. Oh, by the way, the Star Wars universe just so happens to also be the Destiny. No, that's not what it is.
No,
right?
no, that's not what it is.
What I think it is.
It's
So
it's
if
a
that's-
it's a collab. It's a collab. It's story
if you-
elements
it-
that are
it's story
similar.
elements borrowed
Yeah.
from Star Wars style, right? So I'm thinking something more along the lines of a Mandalorian style story, right? Not Jedi and all of that. I'm thinking more Mandalorian, more bounty
Yeah.
hunter, like space western. Perfect, right? Wait, hold on. But they just so happen to also be doing a second collab with Star Wars and actually bringing weapons this time. I think that's the better way to do that, right? It's like, yeah, they kind of threw it in there saying, and it looks like a Star Wars thing completely. And I'm not going to say it's not. because and the possibilities that it is actually
Yeah,
Star
but
Wars
it's
shit
locked behind.
crazy.
It's locked behind a paywall.
Yeah, but that's that. So you didn't hear what they said. So all seasons are now free. So you basically it's just you're getting a major update that's gonna actually add shit that's not gonna be taken out the game. That's the plan. So it's not
So what are we paying for exactly? Because that's what I was confused about. They didn't
the
show any.
expansions.
All right,
The expansions.
is Renegades not an expansion?
It is.
It is an expansion, so we're paying for that.
Yeah, it is. So it's 2 expansions a year. That's what they're doing. So instead of getting one major expansion and then 3 or 4 seasons, now it's here's an expansion that launches alongside a season, and then a month and a half or 2 months later, here's a major update that also adds content, not story content per se, but something like new activities, maybe a new destination, depending on what's going on in the world. They said that they're bringing back the Plague Lands. That is the area from the fucking Cosmodrome in Rise of Iron, Mark. That is
Yeah.
the D1.
Yeah.
We were speculating. So you know what that means to me?
Pyramid
It's
Maker
possible
says
we're getting Wrath of the Machine is most likely going to end up returning.
I would
to
love that.
Destiny.
I would love that because
And I
I'd
think-
never played that raid.
Because my whole thing is if you're bringing back the Plague Lands, it makes sense to bring back that raid because now you're adding back the areas. Perfect.
Pyramid says
I'm
give
happy
us
with that.
give us a stormtrooper weapon that isn't allowed to land.
Okay.
You can't
Okay.
you can't hit
Okay.
anything. It just
Okay.
it's just fucking.
Now, I feel like the character Lodi looks
Like Shao
too
Kahn.
normal. He looks too normal.
He does.
No.
He does.
He's a dude with glasses.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I mean?
But come
just a good
on,
dude.
dude. You like what?
No,
do you, what?
but I'm not
what,
saying that's a
what,
bad thing.
What,
I'm not saying that's
I'm
a
not
bad
saying a
thing.
bad
I
thing
want you to-
either.
No, listen. Think about all the other characters in the game, right? So the most normal looking character is who? Ikora. And even Ikora
No,
looks a certain way.
it's the Hunter Vanguard from the Cosmodrome.
Oh, you're not wrong about that. But he also gives me that vibe of like just dude. But Lodi looks more like just dude. You know what I mean? He looks like he's gonna be a funny guy. And I hope he's not. I hope they're not trying to do another Cade kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't want him to just be a funny guy. No, I want him
My
to be
thing
like.
is I never trust
I want
these
him to-
things
I
that
want-
don't showcase a big number of like gameplay. We got to see the traversal stuff.
They never show off a lot of gameplay
So
off
this,
the first
so
reveal.
yeah, so
They
the
never show
so
OD.
the traversal stuff is cool.
The matter spark shit.
The
Bro,
matter,
it's
yeah,
Metroid.
the traversals.
It's the morph ball.
Yeah.
It's literally the morph ball. And you know what, Mark? I'm gonna be honest about it, right? I'm
That's
gonna be
fun.
honest about it.
That's fun. But
That doesn't. You know why
that
that doesn't bother me? Because it always felt like when they first said, "Oh, the code name Apollo is a non-linear expansion." Think of something more like Metroid. They fucking took that and said, "Hey, if we're
Yeah,
doing a Metroidvania, we
but-
might as well add the morph ball."
Yeah,
and
but
I think that's so. Like, I'm not mad at that because that's like cool to me. That's like,
I'm
all
not
right,
mad.
you gave us an ability from a character from a fucking series I am a very big fan of.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I
I'm
love
not-
the Metroid games.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. Actually, I don't. Here's I guess my thing is like.
I'm just scared that it's not going to be good enough. That's my fear. It's the apprehension. It's the fear that if I play this expansion, it don't hit.
So
It don't hit. I'm scared.
So I'm not. I always felt that traversal needed a light overhaul, and the reason I say that is because there were some of the traversal stuff did feel like not fun. Even though you had your vehicle, you had your Sparrow, and you could do cool stuff like that, and now you have the skateboard, right, stuff like that. But
Sorry to cut you off. I'm so sorry to cut you off.
you good.
Speaking about bringing up vehicles, the Griffin. We
The
got a new
Griffin.
vehicle.
Yeah,
coming,
that a combat vehicle. Finally, yeah.
So you know what that means, right? So they're giving us the ability to play with Briggs. For the Briggs
Yeah,
versus
that
tanks
that mode is
Hold
that
on, hold
that
on.
mode is
You know
cool.
what that means?
That mode is really cool. I
Hey,
thought that mode
hey,
was cool.
Do you understand what that means? This is the first step to getting combined arms, which is the large maps, longer distances, and vehicles. Sparrows, fucking skimmers, griffins, tanks, pikes, interceptors. They're gonna add all of that. See, that's my thing. That was in D1. It felt like Team Slayer in Halo, where
Yeah.
you're in a big ass map, you have vehicles everywhere, you can just jump in and just fucking fight. That's what is. I think that's the first step to that.
No,
All
no,
the way cool with that.
no, not wrong with that. I was happy to see that game mode. I was happy to see the
That's something super unique and something that looks fun.
the range. I was like, oh, the range is cool. I was like, oh, I think that the
The
range is.
shooting range. Finally.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's like a fucking concept that I was like,
Everyone
oh, wow, this is necessary. Like, why haven't we
Yeah,
had
like,
this?
that's
Why haven't we
Well,
had
we've
this
a shooting
already?
range before. We had a shooting range before. But the
That did
problem
like
was
damage
it
counting
was-
and like
it was during
build testing.
seasonal- It was from a season, so it went away.
Like as someone who's fucking as dumb as I am, those things help me a lot because it allows me to know what I'm doing instead of going into the fucking. I like to do that. I like to test shit and say, oh, what will work and
Yeah.
what doesn't. I never
Exactly,
fucking
exactly.
I never had that in Destiny 2 outside of like going out into the world and testing it. But it just
Into the world.
yeah, it
plus,
took
like,
time.
When they had the quote unquote shooting range, you weren't playing at that time.
Yeah. So and they
So
took it.
that's what I'm
They
saying. So
took
you
it fucking
wouldn't have
away.
ever experienced that in Destiny, because to you that wasn't ever a thing, because
Yeah.
you didn't know about that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Does that bring me back 100%? Not necessarily.
Not
But
necessarily, right?
I think there's a lot
Why she quit.
to be
It's-
said here about like what's cool. But one thing I do want to say is that I'm fearful of is that Destiny is creating amalgamated characters, or they're creating an amalgamated story almost. And why do I say that is because the separation of, and I know they've already said that they wanted to go away from the classes and put everything together for you to be able to build, so that way every character is unique for you. I get that. I'm not necessarily mad about that, but as a gamer, as a streamer, as a content creator, as someone who's been playing for a long time now, and you as well, we've seen the way that when games create amalgamated characters, the individual things that you could do as a class does not feel unique. You eliminate the uniqueness of things because people are just going to create builds that are
Prismatic,
meta.
you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's just gonna be meta. It's all
So
gonna
my whole
it's all
thing
gonna
with-
it's all
my
gonna run
whole
to
thing
meta.
with-
Now
My whole thing with Prismatic is that it is actually, yes, very, very, very strong. But the whole thing that I like is that there are a lot of abilities on the individual elements that are not present in Prismatic that actually do fundamentally change how the class feels, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, you cannot you can't have Icarus Dash on Prismatic. Icarus Dash makes that fucking Warlock feel so good. Like
Yeah.
you feel great sometimes. You can dodge, you can fly forward, like you have momentum.
yeah, but we're
And
not
the whole
saying
thing with the whole thing with that is what I like that Destiny has done is that they have stuck by their choice of having the three classes. They have not melded the three classes at all, really.
yeah,
Like,
but now
besides,
yeah,
oh,
but
yeah,
now
they
the
gave- look,
yeah,
every
but now
class
the
can use every single grenade, and that, like that's different,
yeah,
right?
But now the classes, the thing is the classes are leaning more into being this like one androgynous thing, right? So that way you can create your own. That you can create what's tailored to you. I think that's where their concept is at. Is that they want to give the player the ability to tailor and craft their own unique class, almost make it so that way they are creating their guardian. Their guardian is
I mean,
unique to what
pretty
they're.
much.
But I think when you do that, though, you are going to, if not done correctly, are going to funnel players into creating solo meta build. Like solo meta, everyone running the same thing type of shit. Amalgamating.
that's
Amalgamating the
always
meta.
gonna happen, though.
Yeah, but how the thing is
That's
like
always gonna happen.
yeah, but
So,
when
for example,
but
there
yeah,
was a point in time.
but the Trinity, right? Tank, healer, damage dealer. I'm not saying you have to do that here. I'm saying why has the Trinity worked for so long? Because it forces a player to put themselves into a role, right? So the longer I've played games, and I'm gonna allow you to give your point because I know that you're brewing something, and I'm gonna let you say it. But when you force a player to learn to play something, when you force a player to learn something, it creates a better experience because they feel more rewarded, right? Why have tank players played tank? They were forced into that position. Or why have healers healed? Because they have forced into healing and they learn how to play it. There's a fine line between actively curating an experience for players, and then forcing a player to learn. I feel like this and what they're doing is curating an experience for a player. Sorry to go into a tangent, but how would you like to see it?
So pretty much what it seems like they're doing is they're trying to hammer home like, hey, we're listening, we're trying to take the feedback that you've given us, and I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
there's
hammering
a few
home.
things that they brought up. There's a few things that they brought up that actually have been things that the community have asked for.
Like,
and you know what? The firing range is one of them.
Firing range.
The there was something that like
they keep referencing time, like the time, making being a thing about time.
Your time, yeah, making your time be respected in a way that feels like, okay, I don't have that much time. Let me just jump into this solo. Oh, they also said one big thing. You can do the pinnacle grind on just PvP if you want to. That right alone gives half of the player base their opportunity to not have to do PvE content unless they want to. They can just play PvP now. And I think that's good. That's a good thing. That's something people have asked for. Make it worthwhile for people who just want to play PvP in this game. There's people who don't like story games. There's people who just want to shoot people in cool ways. Let that happen. Let people be able to progress their power by just playing PvP. And that's what they did. They're trying to get, it looks like they're trying to give the players the say in how they progress through the game. Because rather than say, okay, do 3 strikes, do 3 crucible matches, do 3 gambit, do all your powerfuls, do your pinnacles, this, that in the process, right? Rather than doing that, now it's play whatever the fuck you want to play. You want to play PvP only for the next 2 weeks? Go play PvP only. It's not going to hinder your progress. That makes it so that approaching content doesn't feel like, oh damn, I really want to play PvP today, but I really need to get my dailies and weeklies done. You know what I mean? Like you're not forced into the daily cycle that we have been forced into for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years.
Doesn't feel like a chore. You're not wrong.
Well, we don't know exactly how it's gonna feel yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but from what it seems like, it doesn't seem like they're trying to make it feel like it's less of a chore. That's kind of where I was going with that. Like that was a great word for you to use because it kind of feels like you're trying.
I didn't use it. That was
less of
chat.
a chore to get shit done and make it more so where it's like, oh, I want to play strikes today, so doing strikes still nets me positive gain on my power. But then tomorrow, I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to play strikes no more. I just want to jump into Crucible and shoot people. You have every opportunity to go into Crucible and still normally raise up your power. That makes anything in the game worthwhile doing, basically. That makes it so you can do whatever the fuck you want.
So,
Instead of being forced to do strikes, forced to do gambit, forced to do PvP when you don't want to, now you have the agency, like they were saying, to do what you want. You choose.
yeah, the portal system reminds me a lot of the dungeon finder from WoW, World of Warcraft, right? And I don't want to use no, I'm not gonna take credit for what chat says. Chat is in chat, bro. So we all encompassing here. So I don't want to use Destiny 2 or MMOs to describe.
Well, remember that Destiny previously have said that they were trying to basically turn Destiny into something that uses MMO like system.
So that's the thing.
And
like I get it. Like Destiny feels like it.
They've done a little bit of that. I'll give them that. They have actually they have set expectations for saying when they said that. It was like, oh, we're trying to turn it into something that can be kind of reminiscent of an MMO, not going full MMO, which is not what they were ever trying to do.
Yeah,
right?
but
like,
of course they
have not gone full MMO.
They're too
but
far
they
gone.
have used certain systems.
Yeah, but they're too far gone. So what I was trying to say, Poito, was that
man, this game.
I know what I was trying to say, Poito, is that system portal reminds me a lot of like dungeon finders or LFGs in other MOBAs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in MMOs, as that system progresses and it becomes easier to get into activities, listen, you're not gonna fully make your player base happy all the time, right? And
never.
It's not a thing, but
It's not impossible, but it's hard.
It's super hard. I mean, the WoW community is a perfect example of that. They're always fucking bitching. Not disrespecting them.
Yeah, because it's
not disrespecting them, but they are always bitching. They are always bitching about everything. That's why there's like 30 different versions of the game, right? There's classic, there's fucking thing of discovery. There's mad different versions of the game. Yes.
How exactly old is World of Warcraft?
Well, the game was like in 2000s, 2005, 2007.
Okay.
It's old as fuck.
So if it's a 20-year-old game, right? So I want you to think about it like this. In 20 years, you have people who have poured in time and money over those 20 years. Yeah. We have put 10 to 11 years into Destiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over 20 years. Of course, you're going to have problems when they try new things because it's never always going to land. Destiny has had that problem. A lot of their shit don't land. But you know what? The shit that has landed has been some great content. Let's be honest. Destiny 1 Vanilla had a lot of problems, but I played that game a lot because it was fresh. It was something different. I had never experienced Destiny. You know what I mean?
I mean, it still feels a little different.
Then you hit the expansions for D1. Then you hit Taken King. Then you hit Rise of Iron, right? And over the course of those stories, it's like Destiny still. It keeps what we like about it, the mystery and the quirkiness of Destiny. It's a very specific way of approaching things. The problem is, because it's always been a specific way of approaching things, it gets stale. So after 5 years, they really didn't reinvent the wheel too much. When D2 launched,
no, so like
people were like, "Oh my god, the story fucking sucked." And nowadays, people are like, "Damn, I missed the Red War," because in hindsight, it's actually a really good story. It's actually really well done, and it's like they ripped it out the game. The developers at Bungie have strayed from what we had set up expectations wise, and they went in a direction that felt more like they weren't listening. You know, like
Yeah.
they were doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do, and they would be like, "Oh, we hear you, we hear you, we hear you," and just sprinkle in those changes here and fucking there. They haven't reinvented the wheel,
No.
and it's why expansions.
No, I think that
it's
they.
why
I
expansions
think
like-
that I think
like
that I
Witch
think
Queen.
I think that Destiny's uniqueness is still
But
there.
hold on. Wait, it's why expansions like Witch Queen are so highly praised, because when you hit a story that fucking swings out the gate, keeps swinging, and then all of a sudden you're like 75% of the way through, and all of a sudden now we hit a grand slam, and now all of a sudden you're at 90%, and it hits another grand slam, and then you're left there being like, wow, this expansion hit. All of a sudden it's, oh, so they can do good story. And then you hit Lightfall, right? Wait, then you hit something like Lightfall, and it's like, what the fuck happened?
What was the best part about Witch Queen? What was the best part about the
That's
Taken
part about
King?
Witch Queen.
No, what was the best part
The
about
best-
Witch Queen and Taken King?
Okay, I'm gonna start with Witch Queen. I'm gonna start- I'm
I'll
gonna
tell
start
you.
with Witch Queen for a
Hold on.
reason.
I'll tell you mine, and then you could tell me yours, right? So I think for me personally, when Witch Queen dropped, that whole lead up was nothing but gameplay. Was nothing but like, hey, listen, we're giving you
It
updated
was
light
heavy
class, story, updated light classes.
Bro, even the
updated-
season right before it, every
good.
single week had me on my seat, like, oh my god,
We're leading
Crow,
up. We're leading
everything
up.
with
We're leading up
Crow
to
and,
this.
and
Yeah.
Sabathun
Yeah.
and the Crystal and this,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and we already knew at that point that she was gonna get the light. It was just, how is it gonna happen? What's the situation? What's gonna happen? And
Yeah.
then Witch Queen dropped,
Yeah, and it was a big deal. So yeah, so
and the story was strong. This
Yeah.
is the thing. The story. It felt like everything that came before, when it came to the Hive, mattered when it came to the Witch Queen story, right? It was like all of that setup really hit home right there. It was like, here is what we thought was impossible made possible. And
But they
people
just
who were not
showed a lot
people
of
who are not human
gameplay.
or human adjacent. But wait, people who were not human or human adjacent getting our powers, right? That was unthought of 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
I
my
mean,
whole thing with that is,
it put it
even
on its
though
head.
they spoiled it when they revealed Witch Queen, right? They spoiled that they get the light in Witch Queen, and it pissed me off that they did that. Even with that spoiler, there were 20,000 revelations in Witch Queen that completely shook the game and completely shook the lore.
Yeah, but
right?
that's
So
yeah,
it
but
was-
that's
so
the
it was-
beautiful part about it. That's what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah,
my point.
the
That's
biggest
what I'm saying.
thing was that they
Because
showed a
they
lot of
actually-
gameplay.
It felt like everything that came before it actually paid off in those moments, and it worked because the story was compelling. It was like there was mystery, there was treachery, there was Sabathun fucking around with us the whole time, and then we beat the bitch, and then we find out about the witness, and then we fight Roke. Like it was such a fucking ride. It was like a roller coaster of craziness, of shit that we didn't even realize was the truth before. And then you hit Lightfall, and they completely dropped the ball.
So
And then you hit Final Shape, and they once again do what they did with Witch Queen and actually make a meaningful, compelling story, and an actual.
okay, but
good content along that.
I will ask you this again. Why? Not to take away from the gameplay, but it's because the boss, what was at stake, felt like it was at stake. The big bad,
the stories,
the big
story
bad,
stakes
felt like
they were
she was like
at
it.
all-time high.
He felt like
Yo,
it was
Sabathun-
it,
yo,
right?
when I
Sabathun
remember-
felt like it.
I remember-
Sabathun felt like it was like
Dude,
it was it.
dude,
It was
I
they
remember
took the light,
day-
and I was like, what the fuck? It was
Day
crazy.
one Witch Queen, right? I remember that experience, right? The
Day
hard
one Witch Queen.
difficulty.
Day one.
No,
Witch
wait.
Queen was
The
fire.
hard difficulty, the story, unfolding in the way it did, and then them being like, "Oh my God, the Hive were lied to. They were meant to get the light first," and it was like, "Yo, what do you mean they were supposed to get the light before us? What do you mean? What are you talking about? That's impossible." Guess what? It wasn't. It was the truth, and that's what, like, the same way that Savathun reacted to it was kind of how I felt about it. Like, impossible. There's no way they were decepted that hard.
Now let me ask you this.
Come on.
Now let me ask you this. Does this expansion
this is
that
the
hit?
start of a saga. It's never gonna hit as hard. What's gonna, if it hits, it will be when you get into this expansion, right? And you start learning information about why we're sent there, who we're sent specifically by, because they haven't mentioned that, and what's the intro idea as to why this matters and why what's happening next is going to happen. If that doesn't hit, then the expansion is not going to hit. You know, it's not going to do what they wanted to do, which is bring people back.
The free stuff that they
and
offered,
introduce new players.
The free stuff, I think that's a good thing to talk about.
Being free content, seasons being free content that also do not leave the game is smart.
I think that's
how it should have been.
Yes, I think that's a good way to segue into that. I think the free stuff is a good push in the right direction. Though I do not like, It
feels like they're actually putting a tiny bit of effort, not on the level of Final Shape, because like I said, this is now we're getting two small expansions, right? They said something bigger than Rise of Iron. Rise of Iron, I believe, had maybe 6 to 8 missions. Don't quote me on that because I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly how many. But if you think about it, 6 to 8 missions, right? Behind that, you have the seasonal story going on. How I see it is...
That's true. Chat says when they make free stuff, you have to ask where they're going to monetize next.
I mean, they're going to monetize the
skins.
The fucking...
Skins, yeah. Skins for everything.
And they're gonna, that's all going to still be monetized.
Rise of Iron had 8 missions, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Okay.
Poyo?
Yeah, so
that's,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was about 6 to 8 missions.
Thunder,
like I said, don't quote me on that exactly.
Thunder,
but
Thunder.
My whole thing with Rise of Iron is that it was very early Destiny in the fact that, like, the story starts, the story stops.
Yeah.
My hope with this is that this doesn't feel like because from what it seems, it's not going to be self-contained, right? Like this. What
do you mean?
Leads, like, this isn't like, okay, we're getting an expansion, but this story doesn't have relevance to anything coming next. Like
5 missions.
This is directly leading. So, like they said, they have a plan already, right? We don't know how many years they have a plan for. They didn't specify. No. I'm going to say about 5 years. This overarching story might last over 5 years.
Well, hopefully that the Guardian becomes the Guardian, not the Guardian. The Traveler is involved in some way, shape, or form. Because I don't want them to eliminate that as a story beat. And I like the fact that they're doing the 9 because the 9 was such a mysterious group of individuals.
Were in the universe before the Traveler got here.
Yeah, so that's dope. That's dope.
Big thing, because this means that these are forces that have been in play for God knows how long.
Yeah.
We don't know what their motivations are still. So that's my whole thing. If they can retain the feeling of what Witch Queen and Final Shape did for story, where it's like
mystery,
you're jumping into missions and learning shit that fucking shakes up our understanding of the universe as a whole, even physically and also lore-wise.
Yeah,
that's how you make a good expansion.
Yeah, like how did the 9 get locked
is
up?
That possible?
Why are they?
Wait. Is it possible for Bungie to do good with that and be able to craft a good story? Yes. Is that what I see here? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, but
They-
it comes with scaling though. Like there has to be like
this thing can
the
come-
scaling.
this
But
energy could drop on, and it
that
could
becomes
be
harder the
hot
longer the
garbage.
game. Hold on, that becomes harder the longer you have the game. Is the scaling?
Yeah.
The scaling between how big the bat is versus how small we are, right? And like
Yeah.
the thing is like I think that the 9 are something that's interesting because they are primordial beings, even older than what we know to exist, and they're not like
And they're
even
tied to all of
and
our
they're not, and they're exactly that, and then they're not
in some
they're-
regard.
they're
and
not-
that's like what?
even the hive gods and the even the hive gods, right? All of them and the
the worm gods as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, fuck the worm gods. But what fuck is what's the big bad the witness were
The Witness.
were tools of something. So eventually we're going to get the
yes and no.
eventually we're going to get the embodiments of what really created those tools, right? So that's like the
whole story
end of
behind
that.
The Witness. So I know you.
I do not want to forget about this point to ask you though. But I want to ask you this question, and you can continue on. There is a member of the 9 that we see during the trailer, right? This character
Oh, the
here,
emissary.
the emissary.
I don't see what you're showing, but okay.
If you go on my my stream, you'll see it. Anyways, it's at the
You're talking
right.
about the emissary.
Yeah, it's talking about
I
the
know
emissary right at the end when she breaks free from whatever confines that she's in.
Control.
Her control, right? The character itself. The character itself looks like an amalgamated Titan with a hood and a cloak.
I see what you mean. So
Right?
So you don't really know the story of the emissary. So the Drifter knows the emissary personally before they became the emissary.
We're on the tail end of that stuff, dude. We're on the tail end.
Yeah,
of it.
but hold on. The Drifter knows the emissary personally before she became the emissary. I believe her name was Oren, one of those. And basically, he knew her personally. So what I think might be happening with her is maybe she's breaking free from the control of one of the 9 who was basically using her as a conduit.
And that.
So her breaking
cool.
free is interesting because now I wonder, is she still Orin? Or is she different? Has she been changed? So when she meets Drifter again, what's the story going to be there?
Yeah.
Because Drifter knows her.
Yeah.
So he has familiarity with this person.
Is
So
there
what's that going to factor into it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's setup here that can actually make for a good story. There's stuff there that I
ask you a question.
because I read the lore and shit
Yeah.
that I know
Pertaining to
can
that
come
lore.
up, but I don't know if it's gonna pay off, and I don't know if it's gonna hit because I don't know if I trust Bungie to start off new stories. That's my problem.
Pertaining to that lore, is there a guardian who is a hunter by class who wore Titan armor?
Yeah. So put it like this: you ever realize that Lord Saladin has a hood?
Yeah.
He's a cape. Yeah. Guess what? There was a point in time where the classes did not exist. So there is, and also in lore, yes, the classes exist, but you also have to understand something. The light don't work like that.
Yeah.
Any guardian can use any ability. For example, it's kind of the application of, like, think about it like this. Remember how Cade in Forsaken basically invented the blade dance?
Yeah.
I mean the blade barrage
Yeah.
by adding solar energy to his blades and just flinging them at enemies. That's basically an application of the golden gun. But guess what? any guardian can use any of the powers. It's just the classes are made for specializations so that people can focus in on one thing. But as a hunter, I could go and do a shoulder charge in lore. That's a thing. For example, Ikora Ray does a void chaos reach. A void Kamehameha, basically.
Yeah.
In lore. But guess what? We only have a Nova Bomb in the game, and Chaos Reach is Arc. But in lore, their powers are like a lot more dynamic than people realize. Like a lot more dynamic. It's still one of those situations where like using Solar and Arc in conjunction isn't really a thing. Because there's like, think about it like this. You know how we have cooldowns in game, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about like how in lore some characters can do certain things very, very quickly after, like for example, pop a super and then pop a different super right after? Well, guess what? That character just so happens to have more affinity or more power in general to be able to do two supers back to back. But because gameplay, guess what? You get tired, right? If you waste enough energy, you're gonna be tired, right?
Yeah.
That's what cooldown is.
Yeah.
That's basically you saying I gotta regen my strength. You know what I mean? That's the equivalent of Goku chilling out during the fucking tournament of power and not fighting for 2 seconds
to get his fucking strength back.
Just to regen, to get his strength back so that he could put up. That's basically what the cooldowns are. The game has always had that limitation. But they brought up something where they said that there was a boon or a bane or something where basically you eliminate the ability to do your powered melees and get super regen on your grenades.
Oh.
So, yeah, the way I think about it is people have always complained about that, but there's an actual reason as to why cooldowns make sense. And they try certain ways in the game to make cooldowns shorter. Because, yeah, I can't just Nova Bomb and then switch fucking class and then immediately Chaos Reach. But if I switch class, I have ways to shorten my cooldown. So even if I can't pop it right after, I can still swap out. Like the problem with Destiny is that in lore, things seem to work different than they do in game. So there's always that little bit of disconnect. But there are hunters with Titan armor. There's probably fucking hunters with Warlock. Wasn't Fellwinter actually did the headbutt, or I think it was the headbutt or the shoulder charge, and he's a quote unquote Warlock, but like the attitude of a hunter. Like Fellwinter was weird. Like the classes were, it was different back then. Like the armor wasn't indicative of class.
Yeah.
Like armor wasn't indicative of class. Like you.
All right.
Like for example,
let me ask you this. Hold on.
Eris Morn is a hunter, but she looks more like a warlock.
I only think about that because she got bewitched powers.
Right, but she seems more like a warlock, but she's a hunter.
So let me ask you this, just as a close off here, what are your goods and your bads? Simply put, your goods and your bads.
My goods is that, like, you know, it looks like they're doing some cool changes to the overall innards of the game, right? What's bad is that I don't know if it's going to be good because they don't have a good track record with starting off new stories. Destiny 1 Vanilla had problems. Destiny 2 vanilla had problems. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Bungie can stick the landing. Now, we know what's another bad? The fact that I need to know more about what Renegade is. I feel like because it's the Star Wars, it's the Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that they literally, like, whatever that destination is going to be reminds me of Tatooine.
Tatooine.
It reminds me of, like, it looks like we're going to some like casino style, like you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking Tatooine. I'm thinking the seedy underbelly of whatever this destination is. Like, what are the odds that this is on Mars, right? Like, it's like that. I think destination wise, that makes a lot of sense. You got sand. You know what I mean? If this is a place on Mars, and we have this bounty hunter underworld aesthetic, and then you throw in the Star Wars weapons, what scoundrel is going to be our companion? What character? What Han Solo is going to be our guy? You know what I mean?
It's going to be one of the Fallen. I think that to close it out,
dude, that would be cool.
Yeah, I know.
Solo type with a Fallen
I know it's a Fallen. I know it's a Fallen.
Right there. And you know what? I'm gonna say this right now. You get a Han Solo type as our guy, as our guide, right? But his companion could either be a robot, or it could be a Fallen and be like a Chewbacca type. What is the story? Why does that, since they said that pushes the narrative forward still? How does Edge of Fate lead into that? Is my point.
Mm-hmm. Eventually,
that's what scares me. It's like I'm curious, I'm intrigued in what the story is going to be. But how the fuck does Edge of Fate lead into that? Like, is it possible that that's not Mars? That's also another new planet, right? Where there just so happens to be another civilization, but it's more like Tatooine, where it's this seedy, a wretched hive, dumb and villainy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So
bounty hunters.
Eventually, I think that they're going to do races, but as to close it out,
don't bring up SRL, bro.
Yeah, as to close it out, I think that because they are taunting the idea of free content for the, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Oh my God, Mark.
What's up?
God, Mark. Oh my
What?
God, Mark. Oh my God. The pre-order bonus.
I don't even want to see how much.
Flip.
I don't even want to see how.
I'm gonna
I don't even
flip.
wanna
I'm gonna
see what-
flip.
I saw the pre-order bonus, and one of them is Darth Vader.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, and General
Yeah,
Grievous,
I
dude.
saw that. Yeah, I saw that. So
Oh my God. What the? Let me look at this Grievous. Oh my God, the Grievous is fucking.
So
Oh
I
my
would
God.
I
the
would
fuck?
say
Why are they
Who,
doing this?
Boyo?
Why are they hurting me? Why do I? Why?
This is-
why?
this is a-
Destiny,
this
stop
is a
it. Stop
topic-
it, Destiny, please.
and a weapon with slow ass. True. So no, this Boyle was talking about this for a while, so I gotta give him his flowers on this. But I think if I was to just to close it out, I would say that for their prologue story, to give it as a free update now, open right
That's like
now.
Into the Light, though.
Yeah, or right
Remember
now.
Onslaught?
Yes, but to give that,
Yeah,
and then
that's
to give the dungeon updates, I just would say yes. It's good quality of life stuff. Willing just to go in. I'm just willing to go in. I'm not willing to give more time. I'm not willing to invest so much. I'm just willing to go in and say, look through the veil a little bit. Bad, too little, too late. Yeah, more grinding, which was the problem of the game. I'm just willing to look into the veil. Boyo, final thoughts in one sentence.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.